up today, Dallas Mavericks fans and MFFLs? This is I Talk Game 247, and we are about to talk about Game 3. Dallas Mavericks, the 5th seed Dallas Mavericks against the 4th seed Los Angeles Clippers. The Dallas Mavericks are now returning home for Game 3 and 4 at the AAC, so they're going to have that home court advantage, whatever that means, because we've seen sometimes role players tend to play a little bit better sometimes in front of a home crowd. Again, they have the same routines. They don't have to worry about the extra travel. Their minds are really focused, and they have that familiarity, the home crowd, things like that. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to, again, this is going to be a game where now the Dallas Mavericks have got to come in and take advantage of a team that you punched them in the mouth a little bit. Game 1, the Dallas Mavericks are obviously, you're not going to be happy about letting that one slip away without Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard came back last game, ends up with 15 points, I believe puts about 17 shots. He's still trying to work that rust off, so you have to believe if he's able to be a full go tonight, he's going to be a little bit more comfortable, and you're going to also have to lock in and key in defensively as much as you did the first couple games, because I'm still going to give Dallas Mavericks credit for Game 1. If we didn't let that slip away offensively, if it was just a much more engaged game offensively in Game 1, I feel like the stat sheet and everything would have just showed it was a much tighter game than what it actually looked like on paper by the final score. But the Dallas Mavericks did take care of business in Game 2, winning 96-93. Paul George hit a last-second three. So again, the Dallas Mavericks had fair control of that game in the final minute or so, because again, now the Clippers are playing the foul game. They hit a couple extra shots. Here you go. But the Dallas Mavericks did pull that out. Luka Doncic with 32 points, I believe, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 6 rebounds. You're looking at Kyrie Irving puts up 23 points. This is a guy, PJ Washington, puts up 18 points last game. And those are big fourth quarter shots that you saw PJ Washington knock down. Obviously, it's been up in the air. Who's going to be that third guy? Who's going to be the other guy to take a little pressure off of Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, the way that the Clippers have kind of been taking advantage of some of these, some of these matchups? You're watching the Clippers play. The number one thing you're watching so fast. It's just so fast. It's how much they attack Luka Doncic. As soon as he crosses half court, they're ready to put some eye, and at least an extra eye. And sometimes, even if they're not engaged as a second defender, you literally see someone creeping closer and closer. And sometimes what that's trying to do is they're trying to force Luka Doncic just to, first of all, get the ball out of his hands, but also force him to have to make a quick decision. And when you do have a guy like a Kyrie Irving playing next to him, that's going to take a little bit of a pressure off his shoulders. But Kyrie Irving at the same time is finding his own double teams and blitzes at certain points, because they're kind of figuring out, you know what, Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, this offense starts with them. So if we can force some of the other guys to have to knock down shots or force their own plays and make their own plays, then maybe we can have put the Dallas Mavericks in some, I guess you want to say some situations that they're not really looking to be in. But PJ Washington did knock down some shots later on in that fourth quarter, and hopefully that was a big momentum booster for him returning home like we're talking about right now. The next best thing you're also talking about is what exactly is going to be the situation where you're looking at a Tim Hardaway Jr. who will not be playing in this game. He puts up a 3-point shot last game, and the defender comes up under him. Whether it falls underneath him, doesn't give him enough space under my estimation, in my opinion. But the refs didn't call anything. Tim Hardaway Jr. comes down. He kind of tries to hobble around for like the next minute or so, but then it ends up being the end of the game for him, essentially. Ends up with a sprained ankle, and he will be out this game. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to look for that other X-factor guy I'll talk about. Tim Hardaway Jr. hadn't been that much of a splash player. Once we started to get those acquisitions, those different guys, PJ Washington coming in, Daniel Gafford, guys, I guess their rotation lineups and everything is starting to change. Their roles are changing around a little bit. You're seeing Derrick Jones Jr. fall more consistently into the starting lineup, who also put up 10 points last game and play some great defense. And what I love to hear about Derrick Jones Jr., believe it or not, the last day or so, he says in one of the, after practice, I believe post-practice interviews, whatever, he pretty much says, he fears no one. He plays defense against whoever he's going to play against. At the end of the day, it's all about matchups, and whoever he's placed to have to defend and slow down a little bit, try to control as much as he can, he's willing to do that, and he has no fear doing it. Those are the kind of dogs that you love and you need during the postseason, because you see PJ Washington, he takes pride in playing defense. These are things you cannot coach. Guys that literally will just continue to put their bodies on the line and exert that effort that it takes to get your team extra possessions, bring down rebounds, just force contested shots from guys like a Paul George, which you know can put the ball in the bucket. You look at a James Harden, you know when he's hot, he can put the ball in the bucket. Kawhi Leonard, when he's rolling, he can put the ball in the bucket. Even a Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, he's always going to give you those splash splash plays here and there, or he has the potential, the ability to always give you these splash plays here and there off the bench. So you're now going to be able to ask, what is a Norman Powell, a Terrence, a Coffee, a Terrence Mann? What are these guys going to be able to add for the Los Angeles Clippers? But just knowing that you do have some players that can kind of throw themselves in the mix, and maybe speaking about Tim Hardaway Jr. not going to be in the lineup, the rotation right now, especially this game. Josh Green, what can Josh Green bring you? Because he's going to be eating some of those minutes now, I'm pretty much sure. Because one thing you did see, although he wasn't putting up big scoring numbers or anything last game, Josh Green was a key component of that victory last game in game 2, because he just played some fiery defense. And we're talking about a guy just getting some extra loose balls. Maxi Kleber kind of doing the same thing. So we're going to see what the Dallas Mavericks are made of. If they're a serious team, you have got to come home with the mentality, the mindset that you want to shut the door on the Los Angeles Clippers. You cannot let them get comfortable. You cannot let them control anything, especially on your home court. Because if you're a team that's actually going to try to live up to some of these expectations that you have set for yourself, and of course, obviously, you had a couple guys nationally are starting to give the Dallas Mavericks a few more expectations once they see that you actually start to, I guess, create somewhat more of a solidified team. Now you're going to have to ask yourself, is this actually the time, or were you just kind of speaking whatever you thought everybody wanted to hear? If you're actually a serious team come this postseason, game 3 is where the Dallas Mavericks have got to come in and show, and they just prove their will. But test their will. Like I said, just let the Clippers know this is a home game, this is game 3, and we're not going anywhere. Also, a guy that hasn't played that well in the first 2 games of this series, Daniel Gafford. Unfortunately, last game, he ends up with a back inflammation, I believe back inflammation issue. He only plays 9 minutes in the game, and it was still earlier on. You still saw Zubac starting to have a little bit of success. We're talking about just on the offensive boards and things like that. And Daniel Gafford, he just hasn't been able to find his footing in this series yet. But then also, over the last day or so, I believe it's still coming around that he's been having a little bit of an issue with like back spasming or anything like that. So he's been up in the air. He didn't practice yesterday, I think Jason Kidd said, so he kind of just watched from the sidelines. So he's very questionable to be able to play tonight. I'm not sure if he will, but that will still be a big blow, because although he hasn't played well so far in this series, he's still a different change of a different look, and it allows Derek Lively to be able to come in and kind of put his own, his own mark on the game, just in a different way. And also, when you're throwing in some extra Maxi Kleber minutes at the 5 here and there, you're still going to be able to kind of have 3 different looks of I guess you want to say versions of a center, in quotation, type role, because you see Daniel Gafford, although he hasn't played that well, he's still a physical presence. So you still have to kind of worry about his rim protection here and on any given possession as well. And Derek Lively being more of the athletic leaper, the guy that still is going to force some defensive pressure at the rim, because again, he just has that leaping ability. He has the ability to contest shots naturally. And Maxi Kleber just being quick with his hands. One thing you saw last game, like I said, you saw Maxi Kleber just be able to come up with some loose balls, especially later on in that 4th quarter where we're trying to clinch the game. Kyrie Irving goes up to the free throw line with the ability to knock down 2. He makes 1, misses the 2nd, and what does Maxi Kleber do? Comes up with the loose ball, gets it right back to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving ends up knocking down those 2 free throws, and the rest is history. Like I said, Paul George comes down and hits a 3 to make it look a little bit closer to a 3-point game, but the game was solidified right there. So Maxi Kleber, we're going to need his intensity. We're going to need his versatility. We're going to need him to come out here ready and focused and not afraid to let shots fly. I mean, shoot him comfortably. Don't force him up, because sometimes you can see Maxi, he's just letting it go just to let it go. I want him to shoot with confidence, shoot with intention, and he's going to be good to go. And just a very valuable piece to this rotation in the postseason against the Clippers. But if we're not able to have a Daniel Gafford, it will be a bit of a blow. But I feel like we still have the ability to make things happen at home if the rest of the guys are going to actually be able to find just their solid footing. Like I said, talk about the role players, the Derrick Jones Jr.'s, the PJ Washingtons, the Josh Greens, some of these other guys who may be able to find some burn on the roster here and there. Dante Exum, some of these guys. So the Dallas Mavericks going into game 3. The game will be tonight. I believe it's going to be about 7 p.m. Start. I think the game will be on ESPN. The Mavericks open as a 4.5-point favorite, whatever that means. That's the Vegas. We're talking about Vegas numbers, but it's a home game. The Mavericks, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, they have got to come in here ready to be locked and loaded, because this is now the perfect game. I'm going to say the perfect opportunity to put your foot down against the Los Angeles Clippers in a game that you can kind of start to hopefully balance back in your direction. Also, and then going to last game, the Dallas Mavericks did still, I believe they shot about 42% from field goals, I believe, something like that. But also, they held the Clippers to under 30, about 38.6% on field goal percentage, and also I believe it was well under 30% on a 3-point field goal percentage by the Los Angeles Clippers. So if the Mavericks can come out here ready, and still, I believe the Dallas Mavericks also won the rebounding battle 50-47, which is something we would see consistently. The Mavericks were losing these battles early on in the season. So if the Dallas Mavericks, again, just come in here ready to be physical, ready to show some will, ready to show some intention, and we're going to be in a good place. So I appreciate you guys for all the support. Also, the Dallas Mavericks, like I said, this is going to be it's going to be a game 3, a very important game 3, but game 4 will be in a couple of days at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. So it's not too far. We're not having that long break, which hopefully this helps some of these guys get themselves together. I believe it's still kind of in the report that Kawhi Leonard is still dealing with some knee inflammation. I'm not sure how serious that is, or maybe it's just still kind of some precautionary things the Clippers are looking to do. But I want to also, let's be clear, right before we go, Ty Lue came out and said he feels like the blueprint is set for the Los Angeles Clippers. He says that he doesn't feel like they have to change anything. We locked and loaded. We figured out we just came up a little bit short, but we feel like we have the blueprint, what it takes to beat these Dallas Mavericks and slow them down defensively. So do not let him prove himself right. Come in and show him that is a fluky type thing. You cannot shut down a Luka Doncic. You cannot shut down a Kyrie Irving. You cannot shut down the rest of the guys once they get comfortable. Hopefully the Dallas Mavericks are able to show that. But also, we hit 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for all that support. Continue to keep growing. Continue to keep liking. Continue to keep sharing. And continue to keep giving your own thoughts and opinions on this team going forward. Because the Dallas Mavericks, we have a long way to go, hopefully. But also, there's going to be lots to talk about this offseason. Because how exactly are we going to continue to improve this team in general overall? Continue to keep adding. Continue to keep building. Because you cannot get complacent. You can't be lazy and just be content with where you are. You have to continue to get better. Because the NBA especially is a forever growing game and a constantly moving game. And you're going to have to join that same wave. So I appreciate you guys for all the support. Hopefully the Dallas Mavericks pull out a win in game 3 and make us fans very happy. I appreciate you guys for all the support once again. Go Mavs. And also, as always, enjoy the rest of your day.